Hey everyone, the numbers are in for the Panama City Beach real estate market for February of 2025. I'm Craig Duran with the Duran Group at Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices. I'm going to go very quickly through just some of the basic numbers to show you what I'm seeing so far. So I'm recording this on, what is today's date? I'm recording this on Thursday, March the 13th. And what we're going to look at is our numbers through February. And so think about this. This is really a look at the closing activity from contracts that would have been written in December and January, because closings were probably happening in February. But we'll also look at pending numbers to see what properties are currently pending, to see which way we see prices tracking. Before I show you those, remember, this is a chart from a company called Showing Time. Showing Time is a software system that real estate brokers and agents use to schedule showing appointments. What this shows us is when buyers are out looking at real estate. It's a great first look at maybe how a market will go, because obviously we won't have a contract to get to a closing until we have showings. So if you look very closely at this, I'll zoom in a little bit. If you look at the whole thing first, you see that in the last 5 years, most of the showing activity will happen, or the highest number of showings will happen between now and about the end of May. And this is a version of what we've always come to know as the spring market. We're always very used to feeling more activity in the spring, especially in beach real estate. People buying beach real estate will be able to use a vacation rental or a beach place right away. They'll be able to rent it out right away. Families often are looking, if they're going to make a move, they're looking in the spring so they can get moved in the summer to have children in place for the fall. So a lot of reasons why there's more of an uptick in spring. And if you look closely at this, you can almost see the drop off at the holidays. Here's Memorial Day, a little dip at Memorial Day, dip at 4th of July. We normally don't do as much business in the summertime. We're all relaxing, traveling, maybe dip around Labor Day, dip around Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so this is a very important time in this market, and I'll show you why in just a minute. But just keep in mind, if you're a buyer, the most competitive situation you'll probably be in, or could be in this year, will be the next couple of months. So if you find something that checks all the boxes, remember, we're not in as hot of a market where you have to move quickly and maybe be in multiple offer situations, but there still are generally very, very few properties that will ever check all the boxes for you. So just know this is when you'll feel the most competition. Sellers, extremely important, especially with what I'm going to show you next. This could be our best shot for maybe the highest prices in 2025 with the trajectory of things. So it's very important that you're positioned right now, meaning marketing is great, pricing is great, and you're getting the showing activity that you want if you're already on the market. If you aren't on the market and you're thinking about selling in 2025, you should take a really hard look at getting things going sooner rather than later, especially with what I'm going to show you next. So if we look at overall pricing trends, I'm going to start with waterfront condominiums, Gulffront condominiums. I'm going to show you two charts. The first one is this months of inventory chart. If you've seen any of these videos, this will be repetitive for you, the definition, but the numbers won't be. So remember, 5 or 6 months of inventory has always been a neutral market in real estate. That's the normal pace of things. It really means, if we're comparing condos in this situation, it means that at a normal pace of sales, how things sell normally, we will sell out of all the condos that are for sale today in 5 or 6 months. And that's assuming that nothing else comes up for sale in that time. So that's normal. When things are happening, when the number is lower, things are happening faster. There's more demand. And when the number is lower is generally where you see prices go up. Just the opposite. If it drifts to 7 or 8 or 9 months of inventory, it's taking us longer to sell things. There's more pressure on prices to come down. Sellers are more motivated. There are fewer buyers, all those things. So in the condo market, we have gone from 1.4 months of inventory 2 years ago to now 14 months of inventory. Theoretically, it's going to take us over a year to sell out of everything that's for sale at the pace of current sales. And that's if nothing else theoretically came up for sale in that time. It wouldn't be surprising to see things get a little bit better. See how from February to April, we have a little decrease here. We decreased from a little over 6 to 4. So what is that? 30%. So if we drop 30%, 15, 1.43, 4.5, we might be down to 10-ish months of inventory. Still a buyer's market, still a very soft market. And you would expect then through the summer to climb again, if even higher than before. And look at what this has to do with price. Prices have been coming down. It's almost the exact opposite of when this number is moving up. And if we look at, that's closing prices. If we look at what's pending right now, oh, sorry, what I was showing you, let me reset this. Scratch that. Of what's selling, you can see selling prices have been moving down. If we hyperanalyze this, the average sale price has gone from 583 to 458. You can work the percentages. Median sale price 573 to 435. Now, if you look at the pending prices, are the things that are currently under contract maybe trying to move up, or are they still trending down? Thankfully, they've trended up a little bit since December, but still in that same time period, they're moving down. And let me show you this. Let me load this going back a number of years to show you just how dramatic this is. If we go back a 10-year period, and I wish I could go back more, but my software doesn't let me. So what we're going to see is this loads over a 10-year period. This is going to be the first time in the last year or so, we're twice as slow as we have been in the condo market since the beginning of COVID. Just take another second to load. It loads a lot of data. And so what's important as this comes up, prices are trending down. Another way for me to say this is I haven't closed a transaction yet this year on a condo that closed even with the last sales prices or higher. Every closing has been lower. So if you're a buyer, it's an excellent time. You have lots of choice out there. You have a lot of motivation. You find the right thing. There's absolutely no reason that you wouldn't start an offer lower than you would have a couple years ago. Sellers, you've got to get realistic about pricing and digest some hard truths here if you want to sell this season. Let me show you. This should be loaded by now. This is where we are today on that months of inventory number. This is the beginning of the pandemic. We were at 8.8 months of inventory. Remember, we're at 14. So not quite twice as slow as the beginning of COVID. Go back to March of 2022, we were at 0.57. So what is that? 28 times slower than just a few years ago. And again, looking at price, we've had a almost 8 or 9 year run of price increases. And now we have this trend going on the other way. So you tell me if we're at the highest level of showings that we'll see for the next 2 or 3 months and price is trending in that direction, and you can start thinking about where you think interest rates may be going, where rentals may be going this year, and what's happening with the overall economy. Do you think things will settle in and start appreciating again very, very soon? Do you still think we have ways to go in depreciation? I can tell you from the trends, we don't see anything that's going to stop any depreciation anytime soon. Maybe in pockets. I'm seeing some buildings that have flattened out. Others maybe still are moving down. So looking at the housing market, same idea. Housing market in Panama City Beach was at 3.03 months of inventory, March of 2023. We're now at 9. So we're 3 times slower. Even the builders selling new construction are feeling this. If we look at price trends and we look at the closing prices of price trends, there's a price trend down. The average sales price has been 682. Now 468 in Panama City Beach, gone from 521 down to 445 on the median price. Interest rates have a lot to do with this market segment. The fact that they moved up and are still up is really hard. If you look at the pending prices and get really close here, the average pending prices come down from 655 to 616. The median prices drifted up just a little bit, 500 to 522. That may be the only bright spot here for the housing market. There has been a little more activity in the last couple of weeks. And I'll pull back a couple more things I'll tell you. We'll pull this back to the 10-year mark. Things are better. I've written more contracts, had more showings in the last 2 weeks or so, since about the end of February than easily most of the beginning of the year, even maybe in the last 4 months. So things are, I think naturally we'll see a little more volume this spring because we always do. People will still want to buy the place at the beach who have been waiting. People may have to move for a job transfer, some of those basic things. But the discretionary purchases from investors who are being very careful right now, people who might really want to move up into something larger. I'm helping a couple right now who's pregnant with their third child. They really need more space, and they're going to bite the bullet because they have to, but they're not thrilled about it because their current interest rate is at 3.25%, and their current interest rate on what they're going to, or the interest rate they're going to have on their purchase is going to be much higher. So we have a lot more people staying and not selling and moving right now because of that. So here's that months of inventory number in the housing market. Again, you can see here's the hurricane. We got very slow. Beginning of COVID, we were slower last month than October of 2018 when we had the hurricane. And pricing, you can see we were on a good run. Interest rates spiked right in here, and prices have, depending on the price range, have either moved down or flattened out. I get it. If any of you have been seeing this, I do a specific version of this for different neighborhoods and communities. So if you've already asked for it, you should be on that list to receive, your condo building or your neighborhood. I can even get as accurate to drill down to your specific property if you want me to. I do that probably 8 or 10 times a week. So feel free to reach out, and I can put a quick analysis together for you. It'll probably be less than 10-minute video, and you can see where things are. So in closing, buyers, it's a great time to be looking at real estate. Prices are off tremendously from last year. Honestly, you don't have to be in a hurry, but what I told a friend, I was helping a friend over in Pensacola Beach, Navarre Beach area this week. You don't have to be in a hurry, but when you find the right thing and you're going to buy it for the long term or for all the right reasons, the cash flow works, then it's a great time to be buying. It's very difficult to time the market. It's impossible, I think, to time the market, especially building by building or neighborhood by neighborhood. But you've got to feel pretty good that everything's on sale right now. Sellers, if you're not selling in 2025 because you're either not comfortable with where prices are, or you really don't need to, then fine. Just be prepared that you may lose value on paper, and it could take a number of years before we see that number drift down, stop, and then drift back up again. And let me show you I'll show you what I mean. In the condo market, if we go back to 2007 and run it through 2016, this will take just a minute to load, but what you're going to see is that price drop at the last real recession, deep recession, and then just how real estate has to find a bottom and then start its way up again. It just takes more time than you could see in a stock market. So I would tell sellers, just be prepared. I think, or another way to say it, I think it's bad advice to, let's just wait until a few more months, or let's just wait until next spring. It's very possible that you could be in a worse position depending on your market segment. So just plan for that. Here are those price trends. So March of 2007, and I probably should go back to 05. So, the top of the market when it was heated. Do this one more time. if you're still with me 15 minutes later, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I know I like to overanalyze this stuff sometimes, but I think it's important for people to know right now because it's big shifts are happening. So what we'll see here is, so here was the last top of the market, very much like we've potentially could be seeing here today. And it moved down in about a 4-year period pretty steadily. And then look how it was flat this chart is only 2009 to 2013. We didn't see a lot of appreciation. So things have to find a bottom and then settle in and then move up again. So again, if you're not selling in 2025, just be prepared. We could be somewhere on this and have this to go. And so I don't think it's unreasonable to think that 4, 5, 6, 7-year plan is reasonable if speaking only from the value and how much something's worth and coming out in a better financial position. So I hope this helps everyone. Again, if you want to be on any of those specific lists for me, just shoot me a text to 850-290-0417. Let me know what you want. I'll get you set up. The system's very easy to follow, and there's no sign up, there's no fees or anything. Just happy to give you the information. Again, if you're still watching, thank you for watching. Again, I'm Craig Duran with the Duran Group at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. Talk to you next time.